Hello and welcome to my presentation on Giardiasis by Demarcus Ward. Let's begin. What is Giardiasis? Giardiasis is an intestinal infection caused by microscopic parasite Giardia. Giardia. Gotta work on that. History of Giardiasis. Giardiasis was initially described by von Leeuwenhoek in 1681 as he was examining his own diarrheal stool samples under a microscope. He was also known for being the father of microbiology, while also being born in 1632 as a Dutchman. Giardiasis was later described with more detail by Labum, his associate, in 859, who thought that Giardiasis belonged to a genus Cercominus, and named it Cercominus intestinalis. Who was most affected by Giardiasis? It affects children, people close in contact with those with it, travelers and hikers and swimmers, mostly those who visit a large body of water or coming out of town and runs into it because it's sitting in the water or it's in contaminated water. Giardiasis is. And pregnant women. While Giardiasis can affect infants and pregnant women as well, they're the most susceptible to it, and a side effect of it being dehydration, which they even must make sure they drinks a lot of fluids, especially for children, such as infants, because it can be lethal for them. Common hotspots for Giardiasis will also be undeveloped nations, because due to their lack of adequate sanitation systems. Symptoms of Giardiasis: diarrhea, alternating with greasy stools, dehydration, like I said previously in the previous slide, fatigue, cramps, belching gas. But get this, surprisingly, some people have no symptoms at all. But it'll still be in their stool samples. Like if they got it anywhere else and someone came behind them, they could still possibly get it because it's still in the stool. Pathology of Giardiasis. Each cyst undergoes a process called excistation, by which it produces 2 to 4 trochocytes. Within each trochocyte possesses 2 nuclei and 4 pillars of phalangia. The interior side of the trophocyte's body consists of a sulking disc, which is used to attach to the villi of the small intestine. Once it is attached to the small intestine, the trophocyte can multiply via binary fission. The worst part about that is, in severe cases of Giardiasis, when it gets to the intestinal villi, it can be associated with malabsorption syndrome. It can be atrophied or flattened, and this is a picture of what it would look like, where you have the normal small intestine, while in B you have a flattened one that's undergoing a little bit of malabsorption syndrome. A cure and treatment for Giardiasis. Most cases clear up on their own, though, in a few weeks. This is usually treated by antibiotics. When signs and symptoms are severe enough to warrant it, doctors will usually recommend metronidazole. I gotta stop thinking of it. Metronidazole, tindazole, Zonaxtia, and the common street names, Vago, Tindamax, and Elena. With metronidazole is the most commonly used antibiotic for Giardia, but it also has side effects that include nausea, tasting metallic, and it's not recommended that use, like most drinks. With most medications, you shouldn't drink with it. With tidazole, tidazole. There we go. It works well with metazole and can have the same side effects, but it can be given in a single dose as an upside. With netazide, it becomes more of like a liquid form, and it's easier for children to swallow. But you still get the effects such as nausea, flatulence, yellow eyes, and bright colored yellow urine. While there are no medications for pregnancy when people who are pregnant, it is recommended that they go ahead, if they have mild symptoms, that they go ahead and delay their treatment until after their first trimester. But if it is necessary, like in a severe case, they'll have to probably talk to their doctor. What causes Giardiasis? Giardiasis comes from intestinalis and a single-cell parasite of the order Diplomatia. Like other diplomodes, the cells of G. elevia have 2 nuclear and 8 phalangia. The parasites attach to human intestinal mucosa with a sucking organ. It spreads through contaminated food and water, which is usually human fecal matter, or by person-to-person contact. How's a person's daily life with Giardiasis? Giardiasis exists in a active form where it's trochocyte and in a dormant state where it has a sit stage. It also has an incubation period of 8 days with, like I said previously in the previous slide, some people could be asymptomatic. They don't even feel the symptoms, or it don't show the symptom, but they still have it and they are still carrier. It can last up to 2 to 6 weeks, and long-term, it can cause lactose intolerance, and the eradication of leave long-term damage to your digestive tract. The number of people affected by Giardiasis. While it is rare within the U.S., with you getting 200,000 cases per year, it still is the most common waterborne disease within the U.S. It is usually found like in backcountry streams, rivers, lakes, but it can also be in like municipality water systems, swimming pools, and whirlpools, stuff like that. Small body of water that you can just go swimming in, and wouldn't even know you had until you got it, or maybe you don't. So, yeah. And here's a map of incidents of Giardiasis around the U.S., with it being the clearest states such as Texas and a couple others being the lowest, with states like Wyoming and Alaska being like the worst. Treatments, centers, and medical research for Giardiasis. While initially, like I said previously, it usually goes up away by itself within a couple of weeks. Your family doctor may refer you to a gastrologist just in case if it gets severe enough, or if you may have a pre-existing condition that warrants you to go see one. And here's my reference links for all the websites I visited to put this PowerPoint together. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.